The outside survey began like a school project and slowly became something else. That was Mina's fault first, though none of them said so. She had taken the small permission Kai had given her, the admission that certain points near the ruins felt different, and built a plan around it before fear could make the plan feel impossible. It had columns, time limits, route notes, and a list of forbidden phrases they were not allowed to say out loud near the fence. System was one. Chi was another. Anything involving mysterious destiny was banned by unanimous vote after Ryan abused it immediately. Mina arrived with a printed map, 3 pencils, and a ruler. Ryan brought snacks, a flashlight, and the kind of confidence that made Kai check twice for security guards. Kai brought the training stone in his pocket and the talisman folded flat beneath his shirt. He had debated leaving both at home. The talisman made him feel watched by Han's expectations. The stone made him feel watched by the part of himself that wanted progress. In the end, he brought them because going without tools did not make him safer. It only made fear feel noble. He was trying to do less of that now. Public sidewalks only, Kai said. You have said that 4 times, Mina replied. It remains important. Kai heard how stiff he sounded and could not soften it. The fence had become more than metal in his mind. It was the difference between noticing and answering, between research and invitation. If he said public sidewalks enough times, maybe the words would become a rail under his hand. I heard it the first 3. Ryan shook a bag of chips. I heard it twice and assumed the rest. They started at the museum side of the park, where the fence ran parallel to a narrow walkway. Mina marked each point on the map. Kai stood still, breathed, and reported what he felt in the least supernatural language possible. The first point sat across from a bus shelter plastered with tutoring ads. Nothing about it looked special. A woman pushed a stroller past them, glanced at Mina's map, and decided they were harmless students doing homework. Kai envied her certainty. He planted his feet, let the noise of traffic pass through him, and waited for the low inner hum to sort itself from ordinary nerves. Warm here. Mina wrote. Pressure near the left side. She wrote again. Nothing by the maintenance sign. Useful nothing, Mina said. She underlined the word nothing twice. Kai had expected her to chase the stronger readings, but Mina treated the absences with the same respect as the pressure points. A pattern needs edges, she said when Ryan asked why she cared. If everything feels significant, then we are not measuring anything. We are just being dramatic near public property. Ryan looked personally wounded by the standard. Ryan leaned over the fence, squinting. The stones look exactly like stones. He did not touch the fence. Kai noticed. Mina noticed too, because her pencil paused for half a second before moving again. Ryan kept his hands behind his back with exaggerated dignity, making the obedience look like theater, but the choice underneath it was real. He had heard the rules. He was keeping them. Kai felt a small knot inside him loosen. That is their best disguise, Kai said. Ryan looked delighted. You made a joke. Do not reward it. They worked their way around the southern edge as afternoon thinned toward evening. The city moved around them, commuters, dog walkers, a delivery truck idling too long at the curb. Nothing dramatic happened. No stranger stepped from the stones. No warning window exploded into his vision. By the 5th point, the survey had almost become boring. Mina had collected 3 warm zones, 2 pressure points, and 1 argument with Ryan about whether snack crumbs counted as contamination. Kai had begun to trust the rhythm: stop, breathe, report, move. The normal world kept brushing past them. A boy dropped his scooter and cried until his father fixed the handle. Someone argued into a phone about rent. A cyclist rang a bell at Kai for standing in the lane too long. That should have reassured Kai. Instead, it made him notice the white van. It was parked across the street from the maintenance shed, Too clean for the neighborhood and too still for a vehicle waiting on someone quick. A man sat in the driver's seat with one hand near his ear. Another stood near the rear doors, pretending to look at his phone. Kai did not notice it because it looked threatening. He noticed it because it did not belong to the loose disorder of the street. Delivery vans leaned at curbs with hazard lights blinking. Family cars collected wrappers and dust. This one waited with polished patience. Its windows held the afternoon without giving anything back. Kai stopped mid-step. Mina followed his gaze. You know them? No. Ryan's grin vanished. But they feel like the cafe before the cafe exists. He had no better language for it. The van carried the same wrongness as an empty chair reserved before anyone admitted there would be a meeting. Not resonance. Not chi. A social shape. Someone had arranged themselves near the ruins and expected the rest of the day to move around that arrangement. That sentence is upsetting, Ryan said. The system shimmered. Pattern anomaly detected. Recommendation, leave area without attracting attention. Kai relayed the useful version. We should go. Mina did not argue. That told him she was frightened. They turned away from the fence and walked toward the bus stop at a normal pace. Normal pace was hard. Kai's body wanted to run. Ryan's body wanted to turn around. Mina kept her notebook close to her side and counted their steps under her breath. 10, 11, 12. She mouthed the numbers without sound. Kai matched his breathing to them because it was easier than trusting his own. Ryan walked half a step behind, close enough to react, far enough not to look like a guard. For once, none of them joked. The absence of it made the street seem louder. The man by the van looked up. Kai felt attention settle across his shoulders. Not spiritual pressure. Human pressure. If you want us to keep making more stories like this, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Azure Inkblade. Now, back to the chapter. The kind made of training, suspicion, and a plan being adjusted. It reminded Kai of being watched by a teacher after a wrong answer, except colder and more patient. Spiritual pressure filled space. Human pressure chose angles. It followed the line of his shoulders, the turn of Mina's head, the way Ryan's hand drifted toward the strap of his bag and then stopped. Left at the corner, Mina said quietly. Why? Ryan asked. Crowd by the bakery. Good. They turned left. The man from the van did not follow immediately. That was worse. At the bakery, Mina bought 3 buns they did not want. The line gave them people to stand among and windows to watch through. The van rolled past once, slow enough to be noticed if someone knew to notice. The bakery smelled of sugar, yeast, and warm oil. It should have made Kai hungry. Instead every sound arrived too sharp, tongs clicking against metal trays, coins sliding over the counter, the old woman behind them asking whether the red bean buns were fresh. Mina paid with steady hands. Ryan accepted a paper bag and held it like evidence. Ryan took a bite of his bun with unnecessary aggression. So the boring answer is we are being watched by normal creeps. Normal does not mean harmless, Mina said. Kai looked at the reflection in the glass. They are connected to the ruins. How do you know? She asked. He touched the training stone in his pocket. No warning. No resonance. Only the memory of the white card under his door that had not yet arrived in this revised version of his day, though the shape of it seemed suddenly inevitable. Because people do not watch fences that carefully unless they want to control what crosses them. The sentence came from the place in him that had learned too much too quickly. Kai heard it after he said it and wished it sounded less like Han. Mina writing it down made it worse and better at once. Worse because it made the fear official. Better because once something was written down, it could be tested instead of only endured. Mina wrote that down. Ryan stared at her. Did you just quote him? It was a good sentence. It was a creepy sentence. Both can be true. They separated only after making sure the van had not circled again. Ryan walked Mina to the station without making a production of it. Kai went home by a longer route and checked every reflective window along the way. He chose streets with shop fronts and bus stops, avoiding the shortcut behind the market even though it would have cut 10 minutes from the walk. Twice he stopped to tie a shoe that did not need tying. Once he entered a convenience store, bought a bottle of water, and used the dark screen of the drink cooler to watch the door behind him. No one followed in a way he could prove. That did not comfort him. His apartment felt smaller than usual. Not unsafe. Smaller. The hallway seemed narrower after the open street, the ceiling lower, the familiar scuffs on the floor too intimate. He had always thought of home as the place danger had to reach before it could touch him. The white van had changed that without entering the building. It had made distance feel negotiable. He locked the door, slid the chain into place, and sat on the floor with his back against the bed. The training stone warmed in his palm. He did 5 breathing cycles, then 5 more, not to gain chi but to convince his body that no one had followed him inside. Body tempering stage 2, chi 16/30 concealment discipline improved. External observation probable. Probable, Kai said. Lovely. The hallway outside creaked. He went still. The sound came again, a measured step, a pause, the faint brush of paper against the bottom of the door. Kai did not move toward it. Waiting, Han had once said, was also a technique if you did it on purpose. Kai waited through 10 breaths. No second step. No voice. No pressure. Only the refrigerator humming and the soft presence of a card on the floor. The card lay halfway under the door, bright against the worn floorboards. It was absurd how little space a threat needed. No broken lock. No raised voice. Just a rectangle of paper and the knowledge that someone had been close enough to place it there while his mother was not home and Kai was pretending the chain on the door meant something. When he finally picked it up, the paper was white, heavy, and unmarked except for one sentence printed in tidy black letters. We would like to discuss your interest in the heritage site. Beneath it were a time and place. Noon tomorrow. A cafe he had walked past 100 times. Kai read the card once. His first thought was not about Vale, or the van, or the meeting. It was about his mother coming home tired and stepping over that card without knowing what it meant. The thought made his hands go cold. Whatever this was, it had reached the line between his secrets and her ordinary life. That line suddenly felt thin enough to tear. Then again. Then he photographed it and sent the image to Mina and Ryan before fear could persuade him to carry it alone. His thumb hovered over the send button longer than he wanted to admit. Sending it meant making the danger real in their pockets too. Not sending it meant returning to the old habit, the lonely one that dressed itself up as protection. Kai pressed send while he was still angry enough at himself to choose better. Mina replied first. Mina, absolutely not alone. Ryan followed. Ryan, I own a very convincing lunch face. We sit nearby. Kai stared at the messages. The old habit was to refuse help before help could become risk. It had always felt noble from the inside. Refuse help. Carry more. Keep everyone clean by letting yourself be the only one with dirty hands. Now, under the flat glow of his phone screen, it looked less noble and more arrogant. Mina and Ryan were already making choices. Pretending otherwise only robbed them of the chance to make those choices with facts. The new habit was still forming. Kai typed slowly. Kai, nearby. Not at the table. Mina, agreed. Ryan, boring but acceptable. The ember eased by a fraction. Outside the door, the hallway remained empty. The thread had been pulled tight. This time, Kai was not the only one holding it.